Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. All right, so we're starting a new series for the world-famous Marvel-ous team-up. Yes, that's the team-up with Grozz from the GKBC and Tad from Tad Reads Books and Stuff, where we read graphic novels and talk about them. But first, I just learned some information. I had to take notes. Stephen King just announced a new short story compilation is coming out. I thought I was at my last book this month. What is it here? Yeah, The Bazaar of Bad Dreams was going to be my last compilation novel in my Shorty King series. Because if it bleeds, I've already done a video for. So this is going to be the last one. It is. It's going to be the last one for my series. But when this book comes out, let's see here. It is a short story compilation. It's a collection of 12 stories that delve into the darkest part of life. So I guess they're going to be dark stories. We'll see. I mean, they're all pretty dark, aren't they? Anyways, another new compilation, short story compilation, is going to be called You Like It Darker. Okay, so it's scheduled to be coming out on May 21st of 2024. So, yeah, I've got several months. But, of course, it's on pre-order already for me. But I just wanted to give that announcement out there. These short story compilations are never going to be done. Anyways, let's get back to the Marvel-ous team-up with Tad and Grozz. So, if you're new to the Marvel-ous team-up, we read graphic novels and we discuss them. Usually we do a video about every 2 weeks. We read a couple chapters or comic book editions collected in things like this. We're doing now Harrow County. This is the first episode for Harrow County. And this is from the Omnibus #1. And there is an Omnibus #2. Yeah, you can see from these covers, these are horror comics. Scary stories. And they're by Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook. Crook and Bunn. Interesting. All right, so this is Harrow County. And it's a Dark Horse comic book. Dark Horse right there. I love Dark Horse, one of my favorite comic book companies out there. So yeah, we're starting Harrow County. I want to show you this. I've read 4 chapters. Here's some of the artwork here. I hope you can see that. I hope we're not getting too much of a glare. I like this art style. It's kind of paintery. But with, a comic book edge to it. It's definitely not realism. It's not very abstract. But it's very dark. I don't know. I'm kind of digging it. I don't know. Right when I first started reading it, I kind of liked it. So, let's show you the first... Jeez, I got to go all the way back to the beginning here. The first panel, opening panel here of chapter 1. Yeah, you see that there? That hand sticking out and those glowing eyes. Let's find out what that is. All right, let's start with chapter 1 here. Each one is about 26 pages. Just a standard comic book length. And let's start off with chapter 1. So chapter 1, basically it starts out with like this angry mob. The village mob chasing Frankenstein in the old Frankenstein movie, right? It opens up with this angry mob, and they've got this poor woman lynched to a tree. And they're going to hang her, apparently, for being a witch. It doesn't say exactly, what time this is, but it's about, I don't know, from when the story starts seems to be about 16 years. You'll see why. But they're stringing up this lady, and of course she was the healer of the community, apparently. This is what we know right now. But apparently she was incongruous. Is that the word? She was in Congress, blasphemous Congress, with heinous creatures in the woods. And she could do some kind of magical things, but the problem was livestock and things would die around her while she was healing the village people. Not the village people with the, YMCA. The village people that are now hanging her. They don't only hang her, they really want her dead. They burn her too. They set her on fire and they burn her. So they burn her as a witch. And then we go right to now, that was just like a prequel scene. And now it opens up with a farmhouse over here and this scary looking tree right here. Of course, the tree where they hung and burned the witch. And we open up with this little young girl in her bedroom. Looking out the bedroom, she can see this evil tree on this hill right outside her window. And she's having some issues with some nightmares. But she's kind of excited because it's the eve of like her 16th birthday. She's getting ready to turn 16. But they're having issues. She lives with her father on this farm. It's a cow, it's just a normal farm, kind of a general farm. But they're having issues with cows dying. And this one cow's pregnant, has a baby, and the baby dies or is dying. It's not going well. The father's kind of sad about it, but he's a realist, and he's like, well, that's what happens on farms. She doesn't like it. She runs over, she grabs this calf's head and puts it on her lap, and he's walking to go get a gun to put it out of its misery, and lo and behold, she comes running out of the barn with the calf running next to her, and the calf is perfectly fine. A little foreboding there. What's going on here? Well, we go on, and during the day, this traveling salesman, he's got his horse and a wagon with knickknacks and sugar and flour and things that people need. He drives around, from the village and sells to the farmers and things. And he's got a daughter, and the daughter's name is Bernice, and she's friends with Emmy. Emmy's this young girl who's about to turn 16. So they're like talking and stuff, and Bernice is like, you need to get out of here when you're a woman now, and you should leave. This place isn't good for you. Anyways, we switch over to the father and the father of the traveling sales guy, and they're talking and they're kind of whispering, and the traveling sales guy is saying to him, Emmy's come of age. We need to talk about taking care of this. You don't really know what it is, but it goes on from there. Emmy likes to go out into the woods and stuff, and she just takes walks in the woods, even though it's kind of scary out there. Well, while she's out there, she sees this little boy across the creek, and she's like, hey, little boy, and he just totally ignores her, and she goes, talk to me, and he runs off. She runs after him. She's chasing this little boy, and the woods get darker and darker and darker, and she gets through. Now it's turned into these thickets, and the thickets are scratching her face, but she's still chasing the boy, and she has to crawl into these thickets, and it's kind of like a cave, and she gets in there, and she sees the little boy. But it's not the little boy. It's just his skin. His skin is like hanging from these thorns in this little cave in these thickets. And she is like, oh, cool. She grabs it, folds it up in her arms, crawls back out, and decides that she's going to take this skin back to her house and hide it from her dad. She goes back, and she's all bloody. She's got scratches on her and stuff, and she's, you know, wanting to hide the skin. And then her father's knocking on the door, and she's got to change clothes real quick because there's blood on him. She changes the clothes, and he comes into her room, and all her scratches are healed. What the hell's going on here? It turns nighttime. She falls asleep, and she starts having these like horrible, kind of scary dreams. And it's about these village people that she kind of recognizes. She thinks some of the people, the faces in this village, these group of people, and they're at that tree, and they're hacking into the tree. This is that evil tree that, you know, they hung the witch on, and they hack into the trunk of the tree, and it opens up, and there's like a young child in there, and they pull the young child out like they're birthing it from this tree. Is this her? Is this something that she's seeing from the past? What's going on? She's having some weird ass dreams. It's really cool. The imagery is really cool. The artwork is, like I said, really nice. Well, she wakes up and she's scared. Of course, she's had this horrible nightmare, and the skin, the skin of the boy starts talking to her. Yep. And he's telling her, he's like speaking. She's like, what are you talking about? Well, he's actually like forecasting what the villagers are talking about, because they are now out in the woods by the tree, and they're talking about that it's time. She is coming of age, and it's time for them to take her out. Yep. She hears this through the voice of the skin, because the actual like zombified parts of this little boy is actually in the tree, looking down on these villagers as they're talking, and he's kind of like translating what's going on. It's crazy. She does not want to die. That's the end of chapter 1. We go to chapter 2, and the father comes back, knocks on the door. Emmy, you know, let me in. He walks in, and there's no one in the room. She's gone. She's split. She took off, and she's running because she knows that these people, for some reason, want to kill her. So she's running through the forest in the middle of the night. She knows the forest like the back of her hand, so she's got to jump on these people who might now be chasing her. And who does she run into in the forest but Bernice, her young friend? And Bernice is like, come with me, we got to get out of here. Bernice has overheard her father talking and knows that they mean to kill Emmy. And so they start running through the woods, and Emmy just really doesn't know what's going on, and she's really confused and scared. They end up coming upon this old graveyard, and suddenly here, I'll show you a picture. Suddenly these like ghost skeletons start coming up from the graves, and they're scared now. Now we're into the next chapter. What is this? Chapter 3. And chapter 3, they're like the ghosts are like closing in on them. She thinks maybe that they have nefarious, you know, thoughts, but she starts screaming, yeah, you know, stop right there. And they stop. She's like, She's like, let us go. Get out of the way. And they part, and they let her go. It looked like they were trying maybe not to attack them, but to keep them from going forward. Maybe they knew something was going on out in the woods, or, you know, whatever. But they step aside. Now, man, it's starting to look like she's got some power, some type of power she didn't know or hadn't experienced before. But now maybe that she's turned 16, maybe she's coming into these powers. Don't know. But they let her go. They go out into the woods, and they're trying to, they see lights in the distance. Those must be the villagers chasing her. And they're trying to hide, and they turn around and boop, there's her dad. Yeah, he's like, I know you. I knew where you were going. I've tracked you down, and don't make this harder than it has to be. You know, I love you. I've raised you, but you don't know what's happening to you. Just come with me back. And she knows he's just going to kill her. Well, the skinless body of the little boy, who she has the skin with her in her bag, attacks her father, and because he's going to choke her and kill her, and so he attacks the father, and he starts killing her father, and she's like, no, don't do it, I love you, you know, don't kill him. So she orders this skinless creature to stop attacking her father. He does, because she's got power, and she tells him, get the hell out of here, we're off. And she says, Bernice, you know, you got to stay here. I've got to get away from here on my own. I don't want you to get, you know, caught up in this, get killed or anything like that. So she takes off, and now we're into chapter 4. So when we start with chapter 4, she runs into one of these blasphemous, heinous creatures in the woods that, if we remember back to the beginning, we saw a preview, and one of the reasons that they were hanging the witch was because she had this unnatural congress with these creatures in the forest. And so her name's Hester. I forgot to tell you that. So Hester was the original witch that was killed. Now this is Emmy, and she runs into this creature, and this creature is like, where have you been? I've been waiting here for years for you. You left me alone. I'm going to teach you a lesson. And it's like this huge minotaur, scary monster. And she's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but you need to leave me alone, and I'm out of here. And the creature can't do anything. I mean, he threatens her, but he can't do anything. Like, again, she's got special powers. She runs through the woods. She comes out on the road. Boom, there just happens to be a car coming down the road. And it's the local town pharmacist. And he's like, Emmy, what are you doing out here in the middle of the night? You know, let's bring you into town where it's nice and warm and stuff. And she's like, okay. She gets in the car with him, of course, you know, foreboding, we know. And while they're driving the car, he says some stuff to her. She says, wait a second, this isn't right. They kind of fight, but he knocks her out. He's got, like, you know, ether or something. Puts a rag over her mouth, of course. Knocks her out. And she comes to. They're in his house. She's tied up, and he starts telling her the story. So he tells her that she just might be, or, well, he pretty much is sure she is, the reincarnation of Hester, the witch. She was birthed from that tree. Hester had made a curse on these people that I'm going to come back and kill you all, blah, blah, blah. And that's when, so her spirit somehow went into that tree and birthed Emmy out of the tree. She's 16 years old. She's a woman now. She's come into her magic. And he says, I'm one of your followers. I've been, you know, set here to help you take over again and become who you are. And she's like, no, I'm my own person. I can be over whoever the hell I want to be. And he tells her this story that apparently Hester, in fear for her life, had actually gone out and molded people out of the earth, almost like zombies, and made these people come to life. And they're actually the inhabitants of the village. So they're the village people that ended up revolting against Hester and hanging her and setting her on fire and killing her, because she had created them to kind of protect her and be her own little posse, but they wanted to be their own people. They're people. I mean, they're alive, but I don't know. Hester made them. Anyways, so now they were the ones who killed Hester. And this is 16, well, she's 16, 17, whatever, years later. And he says, you know, I'm here to help you, whatever. And she just goes off the deep end. She's pissed. She's like, no, I'm my own person. I'll do whatever I want to. I'm not going to just become this evil person, this evil Hester. And while she's talking to him, he, you know, looks like he might be a little testy about it. Lo and behold, the skinless boy crawls through the window and attacks the pharmacist and takes him out. She's pissed. She doesn't care. She lets him. And she says, I'm my own person, basically. I'm going to go back to the farm and confront these people. You just can't kill. You just can't murder. Just because Hester was what she was doesn't mean I'm her. I'm Emmy. Yeah. And she goes back to the farm. But before she gets there, her father is there. And her father's like, hey, she could have killed me. But she didn't. So she's different. Let's give her a chance. But of course, the other villagers who were made by Hester, you know, whatever, say, no, we got to kill her. She comes walking in. She says, I'm my own woman. And a couple of the villagers say, no, you're not. You must die. And they attack her. And as they come to attack her, she like, she does magic and just disintegrates them. The remaining people who didn't attack her are now like, holy crap. She might even be stronger than the original Hester. So they decide to give her a chance, I guess. Probably just because they're scared out of their mind. But her dad comes in and sits down with her. Everybody leaves them alone. And she's like, I love you. I'm never going to hurt you. I could have killed you. I didn't. And he's like, I love you too. Maybe you are different. Let's give it a chance. And then the next day, of course, people start bringing their sick, their ill, to Emmy to help cure them. It flashes forward. It looks like to the future and a city. I don't know what city yet, but we're now in the future. We're in a city. Emmy's a little bit older. And that's the last scene over here of her in this nice swanky apartment in the city. Chapter 5 hadn't started yet, but look at that. There's two women. I don't know who they are necessarily. And you can see this little minotaur back here. But anyways, that's it. Harrow County. A spooky, scary comic book. Our next series in the Marvel-ous team-up. I'm digging it so far. I like it. I like the atmosphere. I like the art. The writing is okay so far. A little bit, you know, disjointed. But I think it's going to be really fun. I can't wait to read the next 4 chapters. We're going to do 4 chapters at a time. I can't wait to see what Grozz says about it. But really cool. If you want, you know, to read along with us, grab Harrow County. We're on Omnibus #1. And join in and leave some comments. Let us know what you think. I think it's pretty fun. And I hope it continues to be. I think it's just going to get better. All right. So real quick, that was it. As usual, if you found any entertaining value in my videos, please like, subscribe, leave comments, and until next time, peace out.